and capacity, including over 150 medical professionals, to provide health services to ensure the safety of the migrants, employees, and the surrounding community. We provided personal protective equipment, including face masks. We erected 4 climate-controlled tents to support housing for vulnerable populations. Let me go through our operational response. Simultaneously with the humanitarian response, we in the Department of Homeland Security implemented a series of operational measures to process migrants consistent with existing laws, policies, and procedures. In particular, CBP, Customs and Border Protection, surged 600 agents, officers, and DHS volunteer force personnel to the Del Rio sector to provide operational support. We also, DHS officers and agents conducted 24-hour patrols for general safety, as well as to identify anyone who might be in medical distress. ICE, the U.S. Coast Guard, the Department of Defense, and the Department of Justice provided transportation support to transfer migrants out of Del Rio to other Border Patrol sectors with capacity. Working with the Departments of State in Haiti, DHS increased the number of removal flights to Haiti commensurate with the country's capacity to receive. Importantly, USAID has established a $5.5 million program to provide on-the-ground assistance to repatriated Haitian migrants. Nearly 30,000 migrants have been encountered at Del Rio since September 9th, with the highest number at one time reaching approximately 15,000. Today, we have no migrants remaining in the camp under the international bridge. Migrants continue to be expelled under the CDC's Title 42 authority. Title 42 is a public health authority and not an immigration policy. And it is important to note that Title 42 is applicable and has been applicable to all irregular migration during this pandemic. It is not specific to Haitian nationals or the current situation. Some more data. To date, DHS has conducted 17 expulsion flights to Haiti with approximately 2,000 individuals. Those who are not expelled under Title 42 are placed in immigration removal proceedings. Let me take a step back and explain the process. There are 2 exceptions to the applicability of Title 42, the Public Health Authority. Number 1 is if an individual has an acute vulnerability, such as an urgent medical care, and 2, if in fact our operational capacity is such that we are not able to execute the Title 42 authority that rests with the Centers for Disease Control. I should also say that there is a Convention Against Torture exception if someone claims torture, which is a distinct legal standard. Individuals, as I mentioned, with acute vulnerability can be accepted from the Title 42 application. Approximately 12,400 individuals will have their cases heard by an immigration judge to make a determination on whether they will be removed or permitted to remain in the United States. That is a piece of data that has been requested of us. If someone is not subject to Title 42 expulsion for the 3 reasons that I explained: acute vulnerability, operational capacity limitations, or a Convention Against Torture exception, then the individual is placed in immigration proceedings. That means they go before an immigration judge in an immigration court. If they make a claim that they have a basis under law to remain in the United States, then the judge will hear and adjudicate that claim. If the judge determines that the claim is not valid, the individual will be removed. An estimated 8,000 migrants have decided to return to Mexico voluntarily, and just over 5,000 are being processed by DHS to determine whether they will be expelled or placed in immigration removal proceedings under Title VIII. We have previously articulated publicly, we've previously expressed that in light of the fact that we had such a significant number of individuals in one particular section in Del Rio, Texas, that we were moving people to other Customs and Border Protection processing centers to ensure the safe and secure processing of those individuals, and we will assess the ability to exercise the Title 42 Public Health Authority in those processing centers, and if any of the exceptions apply, then we will place those individuals in immigration enforcement proceedings. But if we are able to expel them under Title 42, because that is indeed a public health imperative as determined by the Centers for Disease Control, we will do so. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Steve.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for coming in to take our questions. The first question is, I was hoping you could explain more of your view that these...
All right, you've been listening there to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. If we hear a significant question, we will pause again and go to him. Let's bring in, though, former New York Congressman Peter King, I believe, and Democratic strategist Bill Caruso to respond to some of what we were just listening to. And I'll begin with you, Peter, the very beginning of what Mayorkas was saying there, Secretary Mayorkas. He was once again specifically getting into the issue of the the Border Patrol agents on horseback and spinning it to that again and saying that horsewhips were used when, in fact, even the photographer who took the initial picture in question says that these were not horsewhips that were being used on these Haitian migrants. They were actually the reins of the horse, and it was the angle of the picture that he himself took.
You know what? We're being told right now. Let's go back to a question being answered right now.
Anyway, want to impair the integrity of the investigative process. We have investigators who are looking at it independently. They will draw their conclusions according to their standard operating procedures, and then the results of that investigation will be determined by the facts that are adduced. Now, with respect to the asylum process, that is an independent process, and I'm not sure I understood your question. If you're asking about the definition of a particular social group, and just for everyone's benefit, the asylum laws provide that the first step in an asylum process is a claim of credible fear. Economic need, flight from generalized violence does not qualify as credible fear, but rather credible fear is credible fear of persecution by reason of one's membership in a particular social group. What is the definition of a particular social group was significantly constrained, that's an understatement, in the Trump administration, and there is a body of law that speaks to that definition, and that definition is currently under review.
Mr. Secretary, if I may, and forgive me for just the follow-up on this point.
Yes.
The question was, if this administration were to take a more permissive stance toward that definition, could this be what we've just experienced in the last several weeks, just the first of many similar instances to occur in this country on the border?
What instance are you referring to?
Well, we have 15,000 migrants that the United States government has had to now process, and
so we determine the standards to apply in a claim of persecution according to the principles that a government should have, both domestically and in the international architecture, with the treatment of individuals who are fleeing persecution by reason of their membership in a particular social group. It is not a tool of deterrence to define what a particular social group means.
Tam? Yeah, the people who, sorry, I'm here, hiding behind a mask. The people who were under the bridge, you've talked about, some of them have gone to Mexico, some of them have been flown to Haiti. The others, are they spread out at CPB holding facilities, or have some been released into the community or released to family members awaiting hearing?
So you ask
What's
a very
their status?
So let me be clear. So some have been returned to Haiti, indeed. Others have been moved to different processing facilities along the border in light of operational capacity. And then many of them will be returned to Haiti from there. And if any of the exceptions apply, they will not be returned to Haiti but placed in immigration enforcement proceedings. I should say released is a very general term, and I may need to drill down on that if I may. Individuals, some of them are detained, some of them are placed on alternatives to detention. We remain in touch with them. We monitor them to ensure their appearance in court at the designated time of appearance. Does that answer your question?
It does. One other question.
And I provided the data if I need to do so again.
Yes. No, I got that. The broader question is that it seems like there are border crises that keep popping up sort of like whack-a-mole every month or so. There's
All
another.
right, once again, let's go back to our panel. Peter, go ahead. Your thoughts on what we're hearing there.
Yeah, I think this is really shameful by the president, the vice president, and the secretary to be prejudging the guilt of these Border Patrol officers. Secretary Mayorkas himself the other day, when he first saw the film or the tape, he said he thought they were acting totally properly. The Democratic congressman in that area, Henry Cuellar, has said they're acting properly. But the president today said they're going to pay the price. Now, first of all, from what all I know, and I was chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, they are acting properly. They were not whipping anyone. The photographer said no one was whipped. And both the president and the vice president have said it was the image that they're upset about, that they're willing to ruin someone's career over an image. And if you have the commander-in-chief, if you have the president, the vice president, and the secretary saying, in effect, that they believe already that these officers are guilty, well, that has a terrible effect on those who are carrying out the investigation. To me, this, and also today, just now, the secretary was talking about the systemic racism in the United States. I mean, assume they're comparing this to the George Floyd case. This is terrible. This is turning their back on law enforcement. And I always try to be bipartisan on the show. On this, I'm telling you, there's no excuse for what they did. It's a terrible miscarriage of justice by this administration.
Bill, these gentlemen on the horses, they were told to go there. And some experts say they were doing their jobs as they were instructed, and these other people weren't supposed to be there anyway. How do you read it?
Well, we're going to be bipartisan, Peter, because I'm going to agree with you. I was taught to follow rules. I was taught if you break rules and you break the law, there are consequences to it. We put law enforcement on the line here to do a job. And with one exception, where there's a report where there was an officer using some pretty colorful language that really probably doesn't belong in any civilized society, sure, that should deserve a reprimand. But I'm hopeful what we see here is wokeism run amok again. I'm not very happy to hear some of the comments we're hearing and prejudging this, but there's going to be an investigation. And my hope is this investigation comes out and they find that they follow procedure. You know, what is the answer here to dealing with the border crisis? Now, we did hear some positive things finally out of the administration today on some of the tangible steps that have been taken to deal with this border crisis. But my frustration as a Biden supporter here is we allow a week of a nightmare to fester in the public view without a real answer, and then we come back with apparently a pretty impressive response here of dealing with this issue. I mean, we have 15,000 migrants on the border, and some have been brought back to Haiti. Some are going to be dealt with through judicial proceedings to decide if they stay. Others have left on their own because they were probably told, you're not coming in. Great, but an entire week went by, and the country is again in turmoil over this, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating sitting here as a Democrat, as a Biden supporter, to see this again. But I listen. I'm not a law enforcement personnel. I'm not on the border, but I didn't see anything wrong with what we saw in those images, other than wokeism.
All right. Well, Peter and Bill, thank you both very much for joining us. We had some breaking news there, so we had to cut your time a little short, but thank you. We also want to remind everyone to tune in to our Save America Rally pre-show tomorrow at 6 p.m. We'll be breaking down what we can expect to hear when President Trump takes the stage in Georgia. Coming up, a closely watched race for governor in Virginia. Democrat Terry McAuliffe looking to unseat the Republican incumbent. We'll have a full report up next.
I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
I do not like my sheets. I love my Giza Dream sheets.
Call or go to MyPillow.com right now to take advantage of Mike's limited time offer. Use the promo code on the screen, and when you buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets, Mike will send you another set absolutely free. That's right, buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets and get another set absolutely free. Choose from a variety of colors in solid, stripes, and new flannel sheets. Order now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Did you know silver might be the most useful commodity on Earth? We need it to make solar power, cars, electronics, batteries, and because silver is an antiviral bactericide, demand is skyrocketing. Here's why Robert Kiyosaki loves silver.
The stockpiles of silver are depleted, so the demand for silver is going up just as stockpiles of silver are going down. Silver still has the biggest run coming up.
Call Lear Capital now for this free report, Silver's Biggest Run. See why experts think the price of silver is set to soar.
I believe silver is on its way to a new record high.
I'll say it again, I love silver because it's affordable. And everybody can own some silver.
The report is free, but the information is priceless. So call now. Then ask how you can get up to $5,000 in bonus silver. Call 800-450-6767. 800-450-6767. 800-450-6767.
Power outages are unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life, posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
When a power outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane, and Generac's Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
We chose Generac because we see them everywhere. After the hurricane, I looked at my wife and said, thank God we have a Generac. We were safe.
Prices start at just $19.99, and owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 7-year warranty valued at $695. Call or go online now to request your free quote with one of Generac's 8,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Call or go online now so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
Going on, let's check in with Amanda Brohanty and a look at what is trending on social media. Amanda.
Bob, Heather, well, during the episode of The View, Vice President Kamala Harris, she was said to appear. However, moments before the interview, hosts Sunny Hostin and Anna Navarro are removed on camera for testing positive for COVID. Take a look.
Two of you to step off for a second.
Okay. Sunny and Anna both apparently tested positive for COVID. No matter how hard we try, these things happen. They probably have a breakthrough.
However, before this happened, Harris was waiting backstage with the group before the announcement was made. And then Joe Concha, now he tweeted out, Kamala Harris will now join The View remotely from another part of the ABC building instead of joining live on set after co-host Navarro